Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something fundamental to the world around us, but maybe often overlooked. Ready-mix concrete.
Right.
You might think concrete, really. But look, this isn't just about sidewalks. We're talking about a massive global industry that literally underpins everything from homes to highways.
Absolutely. And the scale is, frankly, it's astounding. Just in 2023, the market for ready-mix concrete, or RMC, was valued at over $925 billion US dollars.
Wow. $925 billion.
Yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting. The projections, they point to a compound annual growth rate at CGR of 20.5%.
20%.
20.5%. Meaning by 2032, we could be looking at a market hitting nearly 1.5 trillion US dollars.
Okay, 1.5 trillion. That kind of growth, well, it tells a powerful story about global development, doesn't it?
It really, really does. Puts things in perspective.
It does. So for those maybe not in the construction world day to day, let's just quickly break down what ready-mix concrete actually is.
Sure. So essentially, we're talking about concrete that's mixed at a central plant. You can think of it like a giant sort of high-tech kitchen, but for concrete.
Okay.
And then it's delivered straight to the construction sites, ready to pour.
Got it. So the big advantage is?
Well, the key advantage is quality control. These plants use really precise, often automated systems that ensures the perfect blend of ingredients, which leads to a much more consistent, more reliable final product compared to, say, mixing it right there on the site.
Right, which can be variable.
Exactly. Plus, it can often be more cost-effective, and it definitely reduces the amount of labor you need right at the construction site itself.
Okay, so it's about efficiency, it's about quality, and doing that at scale. Now, with that kind of market growth, nearly 1.5 trillion projected, there must be some big forces at play. What's really driving this expansion?
Well, urbanization is a massive factor.
Oh.
Huge. As more and more people move to cities all around the world.
Which is happening everywhere.
Yeah, the need for housing, commercial buildings, all the infrastructure that, supports urban life, it just explodes.
Yeah.
Think about all the concrete needed for apartment blocks, office towers, shopping centers. It's immense.
And then there's the infrastructure itself, right? The roads, bridges, airports.
Exactly. Governments everywhere are investing heavily in upgrading existing infrastructure and building new stuff. And concrete is just the backbone of so much of that development.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, there's just the ongoing growth in residential and industrial construction globally. Everything from individual homes to, massive factories and warehouses.
Okay, so it's kind of a perfect storm of factors all pointing towards needing more concrete.
Yeah.
Now, what about the sort of behind-the-scenes stuff, the things shaping how the industry works and where it's headed?
Yeah, well, technology is a huge driver there. We're seeing constant advancements in how concrete is actually batched and mixed. More automation, more precision, more efficiency. But it's not just the process. The concrete itself is evolving. We're seeing new mix designs coming out that offer better performance, or they can be tailored for really specific applications.
And sustainability has got to be a major consideration these days, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Huge. There's increasing pressure, both from regulations, but also just growing awareness about environmental impact.
Right.
So the industry is being pushed to develop more sustainable concrete formulations, greener production methods, and that's actually leading to some really interesting innovations in the materials being used and the processes.
That's a crucial point. Now, if we look at the global map, where's the most activity happening in this market?
The Asia-Pacific region is definitely the dominant force right now. Countries like China and India, with their massive urbanization projects and huge infrastructure initiatives, they're consuming just vast quantities of ready-mix concrete. But that said, North America and Europe are still very significant markets, driven by, ongoing construction, but also a lot of maintenance and upgrades of existing infrastructure.
Okay, so Asia-Pacific leads, but it's a major industry pretty much across the developed world, too. Are there any challenges, anything that might slow down this impressive growth or create hurdles?
Yeah, sure. Like any major global market, there are definitely challenges. One big one is the price of raw materials. Things like cement, sand, gravel, their prices can fluctuate quite a bit.
And that hits the bottom line.
Directly. It impacts the profitability for the RMC producers. And then there's the whole logistical challenge.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a perishable product, essentially, wet concrete.
Right. You can't just store it.
Exactly. So getting it to the construction site exactly when it's needed, that requires really, really efficient supply chain management. It's a complex dance.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, so a massive growing market, lots of dynamics, technology, sustainability, regional differences, challenges. Now let's get to the real heart of our deep dive today.
Okay.
Understanding who the key players actually are in this nearly trillion-dollar industry,
Yeah.
and maybe who we should be watching as it keeps expanding towards that 1.5 trillion mark.
Right.
Our goal here is to get a clearer picture of that competitive landscape, and we're drawing this from some recent market analysis, right?
Exactly. And this analysis, it gives us a pretty fascinating look at who's leading the pack right now, and maybe more interestingly, who might be nipping at their heels.
Okay, so let's talk big names. According to this analysis, we've got a list of the top companies operating worldwide in RMC. And it's interesting, they're listed based on their shareholding. Even though we don't have exact percentages for all of them publicly, that order itself kind of gives us a sense of the pecking order, doesn't it?
That's a really crucial insight, yeah. While those precise market share numbers aren't always public, the ranking provided in the analysis is still valuable. It gives a strong indication of the relative size and influence of these companies.
Right. So the list includes ACC Limited, Vicat S.A, Holcim, Buzzi SpA, R.W. Sidley Inc., Barney and Dickinson Inc., Dillon Bros Ready Mix Concrete, Livingston's Concrete Service Inc., CMAX SABDCV, Heidelberg Materials AG, China National Building Material Group Corporation, U.S. Concrete Inc., and UltraTech Cement Ltd. Phew, that's quite a list.
It is, and it represents a real mix, you know. You've got truly global giants on there alongside some very significant regional players who hold considerable sway in their specific markets.
Okay.
Now, within that broader list, the analysis also identifies a kind of core group. They call them the top manufacturing companies of ready-mix concrete. These are really the heavyweights, you know, in terms of production volume and overall market influence.
All right, let's focus in on those top manufacturers then. First up is ACC Limited. What can you tell us about them?
Okay, ACC Limited. They're a major cement producer based in India and a very, very significant player in the Indian ready-mix concrete market. What's interesting is they're actually part of the Holcim group now.
Ah, okay, part of Holcim.
Yeah, and they've been around a long time, established way back in 1936. Have built a really comprehensive business, goes well beyond just RMC, wide range of cement products too.
Right.
Now, according to this analysis, their market share, specifically in the RMC sector in India, is pegged at a pretty substantial 23%.
23%. Wow, that gives you a real sense of their dominance there. How have they managed that?
Well, a big part of it seems to be their really extensive network of manufacturing centers right across India. That's coupled with a strong emphasis, apparently, on both sustainability and technological innovation.
Uh-huh.
Their distribution network is obviously well established, helps them reach projects all over the country, and their commitment to quality has likely built a lot of trust over the decades.
Makes sense.
It's also worth noting they recently, I think it was May 2023, opened a joint R&D facility near Mumbai. They did this with Ambuja Cements, another major player.
Okay.
And the clear aim there is advancing technology and driving down costs. That kind of investment in R&D really signals a forward-thinking approach, doesn't it?
It really does. That R&D collaboration sounds like a smart strategic move to, well, maintain their edge. Okay, who's next on this list of top manufacturers?
Next up is UltraTech Cement Ltd. Again, another absolute powerhouse in the Indian cement and RMC markets, and also a globally significant player.
Right.
They're part of the Aditya Birla Group, been around since 1983. Similar story to ACC, really. Very broad portfolio of cement products, but their presence in ready-mix concrete is very strong indeed. Their RMC market share is noted as being around 15%.
15%.
Right.
So India really does have some major players concentrated in this space.
Absolutely. Two huge domestic players right there. UltraTech boasts just a vast network of production plants, grinding units spread all across India. They also have a strong stated commitment to sustainability, and they seem to actively integrate advanced technologies into their operations. They are, without doubt, a crucial player in India's ongoing infrastructure development push.
Okay. Moving beyond India now, the next company highlighted is Vicat S.A.
The FAT. Yeah, they're a prominent global cement producer. Their base is in France, and their history goes way, way back to 1853.
Wow, 1853.
Yeah, long time. They have a significant operational footprint, stretches across Europe, Africa, and Asia, and a substantial presence in the ready-mix concrete market as well. Their market share is cited at around 11%.
11%.
They offer a diverse range of products, cement, concrete, aggregates. Vicat is generally known for dedication to quality, innovation, and again, like the others, a strong focus on sustainability. Including efforts to reduce their carbon emissions, they play a pretty vital role in construction projects worldwide.
Okay, so a long-established global player, strong European roots. The next name on the list is Holcim. We mentioned them already with ACC.
Right, Holcim. They are a true giant in the global building materials industry. Headquartered in Zurich, Switzerland, they operate in, I think it's over 70 countries.
70.
Yeah. Major focus on cement, aggregates, and of course, ready-mix concrete. Their RMC market share is approximately 10%.
10%.
They were actually formed through that big merger back in 2015, and they're really recognized for their strong emphasis on both innovation and, again, sustainability. It's a recurring theme, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. It seems table stakes at this level.
It does. They invest heavily in cutting-edge technologies, both to enhance their products and, crucially, to minimize their environmental impact. Their sustainable development initiatives seem quite comprehensive, targeting energy efficiency, emission reduction, the works. And obviously, their extensive global network allows them to support massive infrastructure and urban development projects pretty much anywhere.
It's just fascinating how consistently sustainability comes up with these top players. Okay, finally, the last of the top 5 highlighted here is Buzzi SpA.
Buzzi SpA, another major player in global cement and building materials. They're based in Italy, founded back in 1907.
Okay.
They're part of the Buzzi Group, and they operate across Europe, the Americas, and Africa. Specializing in cement, RMC, and aggregates. Their market share is noted as being around 7%.
7%.
Uh-huh. And, you guessed it, they also prioritize quality, innovation, and sustainability.
Right.
Particular focus on lowering carbon emissions, improving energy efficiency. It's really central to their strategy, it seems.
Right.
It's also noteworthy, Buzzi recently made a strategic move. In June 2023, they reached an agreement to sell some of their Eastern European operations.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, including ready-mix concrete businesses in eastern Slovakia and some assets in Ukraine. That deal in Ukraine is expected to close sometime in 2024, pending approvals.
Okay.
This kind of move suggests maybe a streamlining of their business, perhaps refocusing efforts on core markets or other areas.
Yeah, that kind of strategic divestment can definitely signal a shift in a company's priorities, can't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've looked at these top 5, primarily in terms of manufacturing clout. But what are the key things that really differentiate companies in this RMC market? It can't just be about who produces the most volume, right?
Absolutely not. No, the market analysis points to several really crucial criteria that determine a company's competitive standing. First off, yeah, manufacturing capability matters, but also their technological prowess.
Right.
Things like how sophisticated their concrete batching plants are, the level of automation they employ. This directly impacts the consistency and quality of the concrete, obviously, but also their production efficiency.
That makes perfect sense. You need to make a reliable product and make it efficiently. What else is critical?
Geographic coverage and the strength of their logistics network. Absolutely vital. We talked about RMC being perishable.
Yeah, the delivery challenge.
Exactly. So having a really well-established distribution system that can get the product there on time, reliably, to a wide range of locations, that's critical. Then there's the commitment to quality control itself and adhering to stringent industry standards. That ensures the reliability and durability people expect.
And as we've kept mentioning, sustainability practices. They're increasingly important, aren't they?
They really are becoming almost a non-negotiable factor, it seems. This includes efforts to use more eco-friendly materials, adopting greener production processes. Financial stability and overall profitability are also key indicators, of course. Shows the company's long-term health, its capacity to invest in growth and innovation.
Okay.
And you can't overlook customer service and satisfaction. That directly impacts reputation, repeat business, ability to retain clients, and finally, innovation in their product offerings, like developing specialized concrete mixes, maybe high strength, maybe self-healing, maybe tailored for specific project needs. That can provide a really significant competitive advantage.
Okay, so it's a really multifaceted picture, isn't it? What makes a successful RMC company? Now, the report also identifies some potential threats to the top 5 players. Who are these companies that could potentially, shake things up, disrupt the current hierarchy?
Yeah, this is interesting. The analysis highlights a number of, let's call them emerging players who are showing strong potential to challenge the dominance of those top 5 we just discussed.
Yeah, okay.
These include names like R.W. Sidley, Inc., Barney & Dickinson, Inc., Dillon Rose Ready Mix Concrete, Livingston's Concrete Service, Inc., and interestingly, Cemex, SABDCV.
Cemex. Hang on, they're a pretty substantial global player already, aren't they, when they operate worldwide?
They absolutely are a very significant global player. However, the analysis seems to position them here as an emerging threat in the sense that their continued growth and strategic focus, maybe in specific key markets, could allow them to climb even higher in those global rankings and potentially disrupt that established top tier, specifically in terms of RMC market share gains.
Ah, okay. So it's about potential upward movement and disruption, even for an existing large player. Got it. So what is it about these companies, this group, that makes them potential disruptors? What are they doing particularly well?
While several factors seem to come into play, many of them are effectively leveraging new technological advancements. They're proactively adopting sustainability initiatives, maybe sometimes more nimbly than the giants, and they're often capitalizing on a really deep understanding of local markets and customer needs.
Right, that local knowledge can be key.
It really can. We're seeing them build stronger manufacturing capabilities, implement robust quality control, expand their distribution networks, all allowing them to capture more market share and exert greater influence within the industry, often starting regionally.
Okay, let's drill down just a bit. What specifically stands out about, say, R.W. Sidley Inc.?
R.W. Sidley Inc., they're recognized for having a strong local or regional presence and a really consistent focus on delivering high-quality products. They also seem to be actively working to expand their operational footprint, making them a formidable competitor within their operating regions.
Okay, and Barney and Dickinson Inc., what's their reported edge?
For Barney and Dickinson, the analysis notes their operational efficiency and a strong commitment to customer service. That focus on providing a positive customer experience seems to be a key driver for them, helping them gain traction in important markets.
And what about Dillon Bros Ready Mix Concrete and Livingston's Concrete Service, Inc.? They sound maybe a bit more regional just from the names.
They likely do have a strong regional focus, yeah.
Yeah.
The analysis emphasizes their focus on maintaining really reliable supply chains key in this business, and also their ability to develop innovative concrete solutions that are tailored to specific local needs or project requirements. In a business where, timely delivery and meeting those precise specs are crucial, those strengths can be really impactful even against larger competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Cemex again. We know they have global scale. What makes them a rising threat in this specific context, according to the analysis?
Well, CEMEX boasts that very extensive global network, true, but the analysis points to their increasing commitment to sustainable practices across their operations. That, combined with their broad range of product offerings and their ongoing integration of advanced technologies, it all strengthens their competitive position. It enables them to effectively challenge established leaders, perhaps more aggressively now, in various markets around the world.
It's really interesting seeing this mix, isn't it? Established giants, these ambitious challengers, some perhaps more regional, others global players looking to climb higher. Now, for any new companies, maybe entrepreneurs looking at this nearly $1.5 trillion market, what are some key guidelines? How can they not just survive, but potentially thrive and compete?
Yeah, that's a great question. The analysis suggests that a really crucial element for new entrants is to focus squarely on providing greater convenience compared to, let's say, more traditional approaches to concrete supply. That could be a significant differentiator.
Okay, convenience. That sounds simple, but how does a new player really deliver on that in the concrete business? It seems pretty industrial.
Well, several key areas stand out. One is definitely the development and deployment of superior delivery and batching technologies.
Okay, like what?
Think about investing in things like mobile batching plants, plants that can operate right at or very near the construction site itself, or highly automated mixing systems that offer maybe greater flexibility and speed. This can significantly cut down delivery times and improve overall efficiency, less waiting around.
That makes sense, bringing the production closer to the point of use, reducing that transport headache. What else should new entrants focus on?
Offering highly customized solutions, that's another critical aspect. Being able to provide truly tailor-made concrete mix designs. Mixes that precisely meet the specific performance requirements of different projects, whether that's, say, ultra-high-strength concrete or specialized green concrete formulations using alternative materials. Catering to those niche needs can create a really strong value proposition.
So moving beyond just the standard off-the-shelf concrete mixes.
Exactly, thinking more like a solutions provider. Then there's streamlining the whole ordering and delivery process, using user-friendly digital platforms, maybe offering real-time monitoring of deliveries that can significantly enhance the customer experience and satisfaction.
Right, using tech to make it easier for the customer.
Precisely. In today's business environment, ease of use and transparency are highly valued, even in traditional industries. And finally, circling back to sustainability.
Always comes back to that.
It does. A strong emphasis on incorporating green materials, minimizing the carbon footprint in production, that can not only help align with increasingly stringent environmental regulations, but it also appeals strongly to a growing segment of environmentally conscious clients and developers.
Okay, so it sounds like the recipe for new players is something like innovate on the technology, especially delivery, focus hard on customization and convenience, leverage digital tools for a better customer experience, and bake sustainability in from the start.
That sums it up pretty well, yeah. By strategically focusing on those areas, new entrants can really differentiate themselves. They can potentially capture a market share by offering solutions that cleverly integrate convenience, customization, and sustainability, all factors that seem to be becoming increasingly important in the whole evolving construction industry.
This has been a really, really insightful deep dive into the ready-mix concrete market. Just to quickly recap the main points. We've seen this as a massive industry, valued over USD 925 billion back in 2023, with really significant growth projected possibly hitting nearly USD 1.5 trillion by 2032.
Huge numbers.
Driven largely by global urbanization and major infrastructure development, we've identified those dominant established players, names like ACC Limited, UltraTech Cement Ltd, Vicat S.A, Holcim, Buzzi SpA.
The current leaders.
Right. And we've highlighted the rising challenge from emerging companies or those climbing the ranks like R.W. Sidley, Barney Dickinson, Dillon Bros, Livingston's, and CMAX. And a key theme there seems to be focusing on innovation and sustainability as key differentiators.
Absolutely. It's clearly a dynamic and evolving market. Lots of opportunities, but also, potential for shifts in that competitive landscape we've been talking about.
Definitely. So here's a final thought to leave folks with. As you consider the sheer scale of infrastructure and urban development that's undoubtedly on the horizon globally, how might these dynamics within the ready-mix concrete market, the rise of sustainability, the push for innovation, how might that ultimately influence not just what we build in the future, but perhaps more importantly, how we build it, and maybe with what kind of long-term environmental implications? Certainly gives you something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.